Hello class 8 students, this is the continuation part of the chapter food production and its management. In my previous video I started talking about the different agricultural tasks and practices, and there I told you that it is quite a complex process and it involves quite a few steps. First step is to prepare the soil, and it is done by loosening or turning the soil, and this process of loosening or turning the soil is known as tilling or ploughing. Okay, so we are done with first step, and the second step was to sow the seeds at a particular depth, not too deep or not too shallow, at a certain depth where the seeds can get enough air, water and warmth from the sun, so that they can germinate easily and grow into new plants. Okay, so we are done with these two first two steps. Then what do? The seeds of the certain plants such as rice and onion are first planted in a seed bed called a nursery. So not all seeds are directly planted in the crop field. Some like rice and onion, they are first planted within the nursery. Same way, at a particular depth or the soil is prepared, then they are sown at a particular depth. All these things are maintained, but they are sown in the seed bed within a nursery. Why? Because in the nursery that place is under regular inspection by the farmers or those who are growing these crops. Means in the field it is such a big place, it is very difficult to inspect all the seeds. Okay, so when from the seeds in the nursery, when from the seeds in seedlings, sorry, once they grow to a certain height, when the seeds have germinated in the nursery and they have grown small saplings and they have grown to a certain height, they are then transferred to the field, and this process is known as transplantation. So some seeds are first grown in the nursery like rice and onion, and when they have grown to a certain height, then they are transplanted or transferred to the crop field, and this process is known as transplantation. Am I clear? Next, fields have to be regularly watered according to the needs of the crop. So we are done with the first two steps. Transplantation is basically another means a bypass step for the second step only. After that we have irrigation. After the sowing of seeds we have irrigation. Irrigation means, I said, the regular supply of water to the crop fields, and the fields need to be regularly watered according to the need of the crops. So not all crops need same amount of water. Some crops need more water, some crops need less water. According to the need of the crop plants, they are watered. And when a crop is grown in a field, it takes away some of the soil nutrients. Over a period of time the nutrients get depleted. Why do the nutrients get depleted over a period of time? Because plants take in when they are taking the water from the soil through the root hairs, they are not only taking water, they are also taking the nutrients from the soil. Okay, so obviously they are getting used up, they are being used up by the plants, and thus the nutrients get depleted from the soil from time to time, and they need to be replenished either by natural methods or by adding manure and fertilizers to the soil. Means by natural methods means any living organism, if they decompose any other living organism, that may add nutrients to the soil, or artificially by adding manure and fertilizer to the soil can also replenish the amount of nutrients in the soil. Okay, so now we are done with the basic steps. Next we have what are weeds and what is the process of removing the weeds. Now what are weeds? Unwanted, wild and uncultivated plants known as weeds should be removed from a crop field. Now even in our potted plants, even in the pots at our home, you will see that under the base, means under some other plant, some unknown wild plants are growing, not plants, grass type of leaves are growing, and they are unwanted. We don't want them, we haven't sown them. and they are wild, they are uncultivated. These plants needs to be removed, and they are known as weeds. These plants are known as weeds and they need to be removed. Why? They should be removed. Why? Because they are taking the nutrients, the water, everything that the original plant should be receiving, right? So the process of removing weeds from anywhere, that can be a crop field or a pot or anything, is known as weeding. Okay, weeds grow everywhere under other plants, and the process of removing these weeds are known as weeding. After being harvested, the crops need to be stored properly and protected from damage by rats, worms and other pests. So after harvesting, they need to be stored in a very proper manner, so that there is no damage from rats, worms and other pests. Okay, the tools and machines that are used to carry out various agricultural tasks are called agricultural implements. Okay, what are these tools called? They are known as agricultural implements. Clear? So we are done with all the agricultural tasks and practices. I hope it is clear to you all. Next we have the types of crops grown in India. So India is, you all know that India is an agricultural based country, right? And here different types of crops are harvested, means are grown. So domesticated plants grown in large quantities for food, clothing, medicine or other purposes are known as crops. You all know what are crops. Sorry. Cereals were the first crops to be cultivated, but now about 100 different kinds of crops are grown for food alone. They are as follows. First one is cereals. What are the cereals that are grown in India? Rice, wheat, maize, barley, ragi. Next we have the pulses like the gram, peas, beans. Next we have oil seeds like mustard, groundnut, sunflower, coconut, sesame. Root crops like sweet potato, turnip. We have tuber crops like potato, tapioca. Next we have the sugar crops like sugarcane, beetroot. We have plantation crops like tea, coffee, rubber, coconut. We have fiber crops which give us fibers like jute, cotton, hemp. Spices that we use in our food, Indian food, spices are very important, and they are very famous also all over the world. Indian spices. What are the spices that are grown? Clove, cinnamon, ginger, pepper, turmeric, coriander. All these are the spices that are grown. Next, lastly, we have timber. Timber means wood. So where do we get wood from? We get timber from sal, teak, pine, etc. Okay, so these are the crops that are grown in India. You don't have to remember all these names. This is just for your reading purpose. All these names and all these things you don't have to learn. Okay, just go through them.